At 8 in the evening you leave a black bag beside the doorway. By 7 in the morning it is gone. That small act of disappearance is the most perfect urban trick there is, because nothing has disappeared. The bag still exists, weighs the same, smells the same, and now sits 20 kilometers away, in a place where other people live. An average resident generates around 450 kilos of household waste a year. Multiply that by a whole city and you have a mountain that must be placed somewhere specific, with a postal address and neighbours. The question holding this video together is simple. Where does your rubbish go, and who exactly lives there? Follow the journey. The bag goes into a truck, reaches a transfer station, and from there a treatment plant where usable material is separated. Here comes the first uncomfortable figure. In Spain, the municipal recycling rate sits around 42%, far below the European target of 60% for the end of this decade. In other words, most of what you throw away is not recycled. It carries on towards an incinerator, where it is burned and some energy recovered, or towards a landfill, where it is buried. And burying is the worst climate option. Most of the sector's emissions come from precisely there. Now look at the destination by name. The best documented Spanish case sits southeast of Madrid, in a complex the administration calls a technology park and everyone else calls, plainly, the dump. Up to 4,000 tons are treated there daily, and its incinerator has burned close to 300,000 tons a year. Around it live tens of thousands of people, across a residential expansion district, a historic informal settlement and several eastern metropolitan municipalities. The distance from the stack to the nearest homes is measured in a few kilometers. The distance from that stack to the districts producing the most rubbish is measured in many more. The consequences are measured, not merely perceived. A study by the city's own public health service found that concentrations of dioxins and furans were around 4 times higher in districts near the incinerators than elsewhere in the city. On top of that sits the everyday reality, years of neighborhood complaints about odors, windows that stay shut in summer, resident associations that built their own reporting forms because nobody else was counting the episodes. A distinction matters here. That there are more dioxins in the air is a fact. That this produces specific harm in a specific population requires epidemiological studies, which almost always arrive late and underfunded. The siting mechanism is the properly urban part, and it works the same way almost everywhere. A waste facility needs a lot of land, heavy access, and few restrictions. So cheap land is sought. Cheap land sits where incomes are low, where the landscape is already degraded, or where residents have less capacity to organize and litigate. Once the plant is installed, the surroundings depreciate further, and that depreciation later attracts affordable housing, settlements, and industrial uses. The result is a loop. Environmental injustice is not decided once, it is reinforced at every plan revision. And language helps, because calling a dump a technology park softens any set of minutes. There is also a problem of scale. Many cities centralize their entire system on a single site. That concentrates efficiency, but it also concentrates the whole impact onto one population, which bears 100% of the burden while the rest of the city bears none. Affected residents' associations tend to ask for exactly this, decentralized treatment, especially of the organic fraction, which causes most of the odor and could be handled in smaller, distributed facilities. This can be read as a technical debate. It is really a debate about sharing burdens, dressed up as logistics. Now the counter-argument, and it deserves serious treatment. Waste has to go somewhere, and no city can process it in its main square. Concentration allows economies of scale, better gas cleaning systems, and stricter environmental control than 20 small scattered plants would achieve. Energy recovery with modern filters is a better climate option than burying, given how heavily landfill weighs in the sector's emissions. And one honest nuance must be added. In the Madrid case, the city itself reports that landfilling has fallen and that neighborhood odor complaints have reached a record low. Systems can improve, and sometimes they do. It can still be argued that none of that answers the distributive question. It is true the facility must exist. It is not true that it must always sit in the same kind of neighborhood. Moreover, the chronological argument sometimes deployed, that the plant was there before the housing, does not excuse anything. If the plant came first, somebody later decided to build affordable housing beside it, and never decided the reverse. The editorial opinion is this: the cleanliness of a historic center is a service produced in the periphery, and whoever produces it should be compensated explicitly, with investment, with public facilities, and with a seat on the committee authorizing each expansion. Return to the opening question. Where does your rubbish go? It goes to a place chosen because it complained least. Which is why the best indicator of territorial justice in a city is not how many bins its center has, but how far its dirtiest infrastructure sits from its richest neighborhood. Reducing what we generate remains the only solution that shifts the problem onto nobody, because a ton that never exists needs no destination. So the next time you leave a bag by the door, the useful question is not whether you sorted the plastic correctly. The useful question is who will open a window tomorrow morning and smell what you have just thrown away.